Hi everybody, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm Jill with Simply Made Unique by Jill, and today I'm working on a Martha Washington sewing cabinet. I'm going to tell you what I did first, but we're going to get this blended and a transfer on it, and it's going to be so beautiful. I can't wait to show you the end result. So I picked up this Martha Washington sewing cabinet at a thrift store. It did need to be primed. The primer that I like to use is Wise Owl primer, because this has a stain blocker, odor blocker. It'll keep the tannins coming through from the dark wood, and I was using a light color on most of this, and it also has an adhesion property, so if you have a slick surface, it would help your paint stick to the piece. So I cleaned it really well first. I primed it with Wise Owl primer, 2 coats of this, and that is not in this video, but I have other videos of me priming things, so you can go back and look at them. Then my first coat is from Dixie Belle Paints. It's a chalk mineral based paint that I love, and this is called Rebel Yellow. I use that on the entire piece as a base, even though I'm going to be blending in some other colors and distressing back. I wanted a good base of a yellow on there first. And today we're going to start with another Dixie Belle Paint Company paint called Kudzu. It's a beautiful green. We're going to be coating the bottom half and distressing it, blending it up into the top, and I'm going to be adding some other colors as we go, but this is where we're going to start. So let's get started. Alright guys, we're going to get started on our painting of a second color. And like I said before, this is Rebel Yellow. I got one base coat on here. I am going to take my beautiful green Kudzu color. I'm going to take my Dixie Belle Mini. I always like to use a nice, clean, good brush to paint with. And we are just going to get the whole base painted. We're going to get the legs painted and everything. We're just going to give it a second coat because it is going to be distressed through. So we're just going to give everything a quick coat to cover the yellow. And we will be blending it through up here. But first, we're just going to get all these legs done. And of course, when you're painting legs, you're going to keep going around and around, and you're going to keep twisting your piece. That's why it helps to have a cart like this and something you can move, because even though you're painting the front of the leg and you feel like you're getting around there, you might not get all the way around. So when you turn your piece, you're going to find out all the spots that you missed on the back of the leg. And of course, we're just putting a quick coat on. It doesn't need to be perfect because it is going to be pretty heavily distressed back to the yellow and even back to the wood if I can get it to go that far. I had done another piece like this. Somebody else loved it. I found the exact same furniture piece again. So when I found the other piece, I called up the second customer that wanted the first piece and asked her if she wanted me to redo the piece. So we're going to be putting a beautiful hummingbird transfer on this and get it all blended out with a bunch of colors. So I'm going to speed you guys up so you don't have to sit here and just watch me paint, and we'll come back to the blending. So at this point you can see I brought the green up like this all the way around, so we're going to start blending in the yellow now. So I'm going to take my Rebel Yellow and of course a different brush, and we're going to start reactivating the yellow paint along the edge of this green, and we're going to start blending them together. It helps to have a third brush that's dry and clean, so you can start feathering them together when you get them on the piece. So we're going to get some yellow, get some water. We're going to come along this edge of the green. And we're going to pick up our green brush and we're going to start feathering them together. We might leave a little bit of green paint, and we just play with it until we like the look that it's giving us. We start bringing them together and bringing that green up, and I can add more yellow to it as we go along. I'm just trying to decide how far I want the green to go up. gave some time for this to dry. I gave it about an hour. We are going to take this is 320 grit sandpaper pieces that I have. We're going to take some of this and we are going to rough distress this. We actually want to go right back to the wood in parts because I want it to have a chippy look. In case I need it, I have a little bit of water so I can give it a little bit more workability. What we're going to do is we're going to just start distressing. And you can see it's going right back to the wood. So I am going to get spots that the yellow is going to come through. That's exactly what I want. So in some spots I will go a little bit lighter. But we want to go right back to the wood in spots because I do want that chippy look. I'm rubbing pretty hard because I'm going right through paint and primer. But you can see here how the yellow starts to come through a little bit and has the green on top. And then I go all the way back to that dark wood. And we are just going to work the whole piece and give it a really rough distress. Now at this point I'm going to stop. I'm going to put a sealer on this. I'm going to let it dry for a few hours and then we're going to put the transfer on before we dry rub some other colors on. So I'm going to throw a coat of flat sealer on this, and then the next step that you're going to see is me putting the transfer on. Now that this whole piece is sealed and dried, I am going to be using, I already have it cut up, but I'm going to be using a transfer from Aussie Decor Transfer. It's called Fabulous Fuchsia. It's a bright, beautiful hummingbird pattern. This is just one of the sheets that comes in the pack, and this is a company that I love to use their transfers. So we're going to get this piece put on here, and I'm going to speed you guys up so you can see the whole process. Let's go. Now that I got the transfer on, I have one last thing to do before I'm going to seal it again and we're done with this piece. I'm going to take some of this bright blue to coordinate with this and we're going to dry rub it just into certain places. So we're going to get a tiny bit of paint, we're going to have a piece of paper and we're going to dab it off. And we are going to pull these drawers out and we're going to start to just put a little bit. We're just going to brush a little bit of this blue in, just along some of the edges, just to get some of that color in there. It doesn't have to be a whole lot of it. I don't want to ruin anything else that's going on there. But I do just want a little bit of that blue coming through in certain places, just to tie in some of the blue in some of the hummingbirds. See how it's just little touches going along the edge of the drawers, and will come along most of the piece in different parts. So I do want to pull this drawer out. We'll get these out as well, so we can work on that. Again, it's a flat brush, very, very little paint, and we are just touching some edges to give us just that little bit of blue to tie in with those birds. So I'll get this piece finished all up, and the next time you see it, it'll be perfectly done with its handles on and everything else. So I'll catch you in a minute with the final product. Make sure you stay to the end to see it.